Gonna do a bit of bike maintenance this morning. Thanks, Tristan. 2 different bikes. Carbon fibre monocoque road bike, fixie. I'm gonna change the pedals on this one, and I'm gonna change the brake pads on this one. Now, there's the brake pads, Swiss stop, best ones you can get, and the pedals are Shimano SBD pedals. SBD pedals, that's what these are on the other bike, these small little pedals here. The fixie's got toe clips, and this is why I wear the SBD pedals. This is a mountain bike shoe, and it's got the little cleat inset, so if you can see the profile on it, you can actually walk on it. Super comfortable. Whereas a road shoe or a racing shoe for a racing bike, it's super tight. You're crammed in. They're almost like a size too small, and your foot is just stuck into them. It's super uncomfortable. The reason being is you don't want any movement with the foot. Rigid shoe, like solid carbon fibre sole, so there's no give at all. So the power transference goes directly to the wheel instead of flexing the shoe or flexing the foot. But I don't race, so I just want a comfortable shoe that I can ride, get off, have a beer, and do that. Now, most of you are after getting new bikes. You see that, great stuff. Andy Ryan was on to me the other day. If there was one thing I would change, get yourself SBD pedals and a set of shoes. Those Muddy Fox ones, I'd recommend them. They're cheap, they're waterproof, and they're great. About 40 quid online. Pedals, I got those ones for 25. They're clipped in, and the experience becomes completely different. Once you get over the fear factor of I'm stuck into the bike and realise I'm part of the bike. Get the air around it. It's good for your head. Get much more out of it. Anyway, you're still at that honeymoon phase where everything's going well with the bike. Nothing's gone wrong. Well, that's going to change. Pedals. 2 ways of getting pedals off. You can either use a 15mm spanner. This is a pedal wrench because I'm a baller. Or you can go on the inside and use an Allen key. A lot of the new pedals now, I don't know if these new ones, I haven't opened them yet, have new ones now, they don't have space for a spanner. You have to use an Allen key on the back of it, like an 8mm or some shit like that. But I have that as well. Let's see what these are like. No, these, I can use a 15mm. You can use a 15, see that 15mm spanner there, or else you can use like an 8mm wrench, Allen key wrench on the back. Right, so here's one thing about rule of thumb with pedals. So it's a 15mm. The crank side is anti-clockwise. So it's anti-clockwise to get it off. And then the opposite side, I never put these on super tight because I change my pedals quite a lot. But now they're going so cheap, you may as well have it. I have a set of those SBDs on every bike. And put a little bit of grease on the tread. Now here's where it's going to get you. If you didn't know what you were doing, you'd presume that to take that crank or that pedal off, you'd have to go anti-clockwise. But on the far side, you go clockwise to unscrew it. So clockwise to unscrew it. There you go. And that's the difference. Now, you think like, that makes no sense. It does make sense. Boom. There's already some grease on that, so I'm not going to grease it anymore. Now the pedal, there's a left pedal and a right pedal, so you can't just put one on either side. And it should say L and it should say or. And I'm looking somewhere for it. It doesn't say jack shit, does it? Where's the other one? Important. Use only with Shimano cleats. These aren't bad. 25 quid reduced. Amazon. I don't think it's the left or right, is there? Yeah, L. Says it there. Little L there. So that's the left, and this is the right. So left side is this one. Same thing. To screw it on, you're going to go anti-clockwise. I do it with my fingers first, just to get it going. Don't worry, I'm going to edit this video. This is L as well. Same thing, you don't have to tighten up too much. I've never had a pedal come off on me. Like it's going against metal, so not too much tension. Now pop to the opposite side. And obviously clockwise for the right side, crank side, chain set side. Or as now they call it, the chain, what do they call it? The drive side, isn't it? There are all these new words. Cockpit. It's a fucking handlebars this time. I suppose. Keeps people impressive, keeps people bikes. That is. Boom, that's that job done. The fixie's ready to rock. Now, the other job, if Mel get out of the way, is a little bit different. I'm going to get the small camera for this. I just bought pads, I didn't buy the shoe. On this bike, the fixie has, I have one brake on the fixie actually. I'll show you now. On the other camera. So, that brake block is all one unit. But on these ones, on the more expensive ones, you've got these ones with a little Allen key, and we just remove that Allen key. Brake pad should slide out, and then we slide these bad boys in. Stopping distance 46 meters. I've ordered a new bike with disc brakes. So disc brakes have come in on the road. You're always going to have them, well not always, but you've had them for the last few years on mountain bikes, and then they progressed over onto the road bike. But the problem with disc brakes and rim brakes, because this breaks off the rim, is if you're riding in a race and there's a bunch of other guys in a race and one guy's got disc brakes and the other guy's got rim brakes, the disc brake guy's going to stop quicker, especially in the rain. So in the rain, when the rims are wet, they have to clear the water, so there's 2 or 3 rotations before you get any kind of action back from the brake before it slows down. Whereas with a disc brake, you hit it, it stops. And the guys were going into the back of each other because of this problem. Smaller than that. So it kind of had to be that everybody was on discs. So now everyone's on discs. Well, I'd say everyone, most people. So is this? Still recording. So I just want to screw on these, unscrew it, and then the pad should just pop out. I've actually never done this before. Usually I just replace the whole thing, but seems to be the deal now. I might actually take out the wheel for this. A bit more clearance. So, oh yeah, taking out wheels. Unpop this. Open this little torn. Pop all up on the. There you go. Man, are you gonna move? All up on the.
Yeah.
Mel's not gonna move, is she? No, sorry, Mel. Did I get some water on you? She's gone now. So these should go forward or backward? Oh yeah, that's it. Backward. That's it, slides out like that. Wow. That was easy. There's not that much wear on them, but I found them a little bit nervous on the descents. Just because I just wasn't stopping fast enough, and I was finding I was having to pull on the brakes a lot harder going down instead of just sending it, let it go, just let it fly, and then boom, you're there. Okay, so make sure we get these right. So that's forward, is it? Forward, yeah. So it just slides in there. Wow. Super simple, isn't it? Look at that easy, can it? Let me get the little camera so you can see what's going on here. See, this kind of like it says forward there. I'm presuming that's at the forward bit, and that just slots in. Super easy. And that's it. Screw in that screw, and that should be it. Where's that old screwdriver? It pops in here. It'll never come out because at the end here you've got a block end, and at the back it's open. So if you didn't screw in this bolt, if you tried to brake going backwards, I don't see it ever doing that, the brake box would fly out. We can still ride without these bolts. That's it, Swiss stop. Let's see how that works. Boom. Right, let's get on to the back ones. Do you really need to see this? Okay, I'll show you how to take out the back wheel. So, with the back wheel, put it all the way down. The smallest cog, make sure it's on the big ring. Open the brake caliper, release, pull this lever, open, and then just pull the derailleur back. Here it comes out. There you go. Back wheel's out. That easy. Now, same thing. Just a little. Oh, it's a bit stiffer, don't we? She might need a bit of WD-40. Ooh, that was alright. Definitely need some WD-40. Hang on, I get this. The WD-40 has done its job. The other thing with bikes now is they come ready-made. They always did, but when you bought a high-end bike, you always bought the frame, the wheels, the components separately, and then you built it yourself. So you kind of had an understanding of bike maintenance, but now they all come pre-made. And nobody has a clue how to fucking fix them or how shit works. Same with cars. You open your BMW now and it's just under the hood is just plastic. You don't even know where the dipstick is. That's probably the only thing they let you do. Check the dipstick. So forward is might be a good idea to take out your sunglasses and see what the fuck's going on. So that's forward. Yep. Slide this one in. This was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Because usually you start off with intentions. It gets complicated. I'll have one day. With a jolly person coming down the stairs just blanking. I say hello to them and they look at me like I've two fucking heads. There's nowhere else to pass. You come down the stairs, you go down to the cafe, you walk past me, I say hello, and you just like look at me like you never saw another human in your fucking life. So I usually let it roar out. Cunt! But I've stopped doing that. I just accept that matters. It's the word. Content. As me. I should really say hello without looking for anything in response, shouldn't I really, if I'm thinking about it? You know, if they don't want to engage, well then I serve them, but they didn't serve me, so do things not for favour but for love, isn't it? And if people want to respond back, they can. This one's a little bit stuck. Oh, here we go. Come on, son. And I'll put another little bit of WD-40 because when I have to change these again, you might have issues. They're actually worn down quite a bit. Probably from me shitting myself coming down hills. We're on a wide angle, so you can see the difference in the fatness, can't you? Anyway, I'll have to readjust the brakes then. Where's that WD? Getting my morning vitamin D. I only expose myself to the sun in the early morning or in the evening. So in the daytime I wear long sleeves and cover up. Because the rays in the morning are good for you and the rays in the evening are good for you. Generally I wait till the evening because you never know whether I might bump into someone and they want to get a coffee. And you have to sit outside and get too much sun. Right, this is done, son. Let's put the wheels back in. See if we can make record time on the wheel change. Same thing with the wheel. Lift up the chain. Bring that through. Pull the neck back. And she should just drop into place. Unless you're running discs. Now we run into a problem because now the brakes are too tight. Because the brake box are smaller now, the wheel won't go in. Alright, that's another. Have we got space to let out here? Usually you have space to let out. Or else you just loosen the cable. Let's see, we might have enough space. Yeah, we do. Let's see her dropping in there. Nearly. Is there enough? No, I'm going to have to open the cable. That's what I say, you do jobs and you think they're going to be a little bit, you know, change brake box and then you realise that now the wheel won't fit in because the brake box are closer because they're newer, they're less worn down. So all I need is a 5mm Allen key, open that, drop in the wheel, and then we'll readjust that down in a minute. That's in, left it straight. These don't need to be that tight. The new bikes now have a straight through axle, like on the mountain bike that I have. This system now is kind of ancient, that's that wheel. And then the front one, same problem's going to adjust here. The other thing, you can put a front wheel on back and front. Andy Ryan, if you look at the skewer here, you always want to match these up. Reason being is the bearings are meant to go a certain way. Not backwards and forwards, they're meant to go forwards. Now, I might be wrong because they might have changed the system at this stage, but I've always stuck with it. When I started, the bearings are made to go a certain way, and if you turn the wheel the opposite way, like if you ran the wheel this way, it's running against itself and it can lock. Might have just changed the system, but I still go with it. Same thing, I'm going to have to unscrew this. get the wheel in, and then readjust. That's a 5mm Allen key. Loosen the bolts. That loosens the cable. And then we'll readjust that now in a second. Wheel in. Front wheels are easy. Don't fail me now. Little bit on that. And that's it. Tighten up the cables on the bike, readjust the brakes. I'm not going to show you how to do that. Super easy. And that's the maintenance. So I hope you learned something today. How to change your wheel, how to change your brake blocks. Stuff that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to do things eventually. So learning yourself is a much better way of doing it. Tonight I'm going to have a port. Now, this is not your ordinary port. This is a white port. The only port I ever saw when I was a kid was red port. And port is from the north of Portugal, a place called Porto. Well, the river Douro runs through Porto, and the Douro Valley is where the grape for port comes from. It's a fortified wine. How strong is it? A gentleman's drinking it. Strong enough. It's an aperitif after your meal. Helps digest your food and knocks you off to sleep. I think I'm drinking too many beers. Yeah, I was drinking too many beers, so I'm going to start drinking the Porto. Just a little drop. Couple of things you might have noticed. We're not in monochrome tonight. We're in classic chrome. Reason being is this ensemble. It's a statement, isn't it? It's an entrance, isn't it? I love it. I've decided to change my style a little bit. Just add to it. Bring more patterns in. I was always with the white t-shirt, that classic look. I suppose, like some of my looks that I liked at the start would have been the rock and roll kind of look, the blue jeans, white shirt, bomber jacket, that sort of look, the cigarette, the frown. That was always a look I liked. I always liked that look. Never liked smoking, but I liked the look of smoking. I thought it was kind of cool looking. But I think I'm going to start wearing some more bright colours, and I just thought I'd show you this top. So I thought I'd shoot in not monochrome, I'm shooting classic chrome tonight. I'm have to get myself another bike. Well, it's not just another bike. I've fallen in love with bikes again. I'd fallen out of love completely with bikes. And it was an obsession to... I just had this... I remember the last race I rode on a bike. and riding along in a race, and I was starting to struggle with it at that stage. There's a race, 100 guys in the bunch, all packed around you, riding along, and I just got this like epiphany. I'm done. I just stopped pedalling. Everyone passed me. The bike came to a standstill. Climbed off the bike, put it into Mick Lawless's van, and I didn't sit on the bike again for 10 years. And before that, it's all I did. The bike came first over everything, relationships, people, me, money, everything. I just wanted to ride a Tour de France. And then I realised it just wasn't good enough. And that's a hard pill to swallow at 22, because you think you're good enough for everything. But sometimes you got to realise that no matter what you do, you're never going to make it. Do something else. And then I never sat on the bike. Didn't want to go near the bike. And Joe Drumgoole actually gave me a fixie. And a fixed wheel bike is a track bike, but you can't stop pedaling. So you're riding along and the pedal goes with the wheel. If you've ever done a spinning class, that's what a fixed wheel bike is, but you're on the road. And that freaked me out. I said, what the fuck would you want to ride a track bike on the road? Sure, you can't stop. You can't stop pedaling. You know, if anything happens, you just can't stop. But the reality of things is you just can't stop anyways. If you're doing 20 miles an hour on the bike or 20 kilometres an hour on the bike, someone walks out in front of you, you can't stop. There's an actual amount of time. And once I started riding the fixie, I started getting a love for the style of bike, because I had to ride it differently to what I rode a normal bike, a road bike on. It was just a different style, and I just kind of got into it. And then I got myself my old K-Dex, to join K-Dex. It was the first ever carbon fibre glued bike, the tubes. So the bike comes with a crossbar, you know, and a down tube and another tube. And they used to be all welded with lugs at the joints. They're called lugs, where those pieces join together. And Giant came out with this K-Dex, and it was the first bike they had that was all carbon fibre, bar the forks that were aluminium, and it was glued together. People were saying, geez, glued together, I wouldn't trust that, you know. But that thing was a bulletproof bike. I dragged that back out here, start riding it. And eventually I got a mountain bike. I got a 29-inch hardtail, start riding, finding all these locations here, and it got me into discovering all the spots that I would never see because I'd never go off-road, because you're either in a car or on your road bike. There's all these gravel roads, and there's more gravel roads here than there is ordinary roads. And I started to discover all these places, and I started to enjoy the bike. I'd stop and have a sandwich, have a coffee, have a beer, and not always ride the bike. I associate bikes with misery. Like misery. It was miserable. It was hard. It's a hard game. Very hard game. I remember being stuck in Monster Heaven one time. We rode this race. It was like 7 or 8 laps of this shitty circuit with a climb in it. They always brought you to a town, and there was always a climb, and you always did laps of a 15-mile circuit. And especially in the early season, you had these classics, and you just ride up this fucking hill. And this race was notoriously hard because there was always a crosswind down the fucking main road. It was just a horrendous place. Nothing in the town. Dump. Sorry, Tristan. But I only saw it as it was a dump to ride a bike in. Hard roads. You always kept checking looking down to see if you had a puncture. You didn't. You just fucking dead roads. I remember packing that race in and being so cold that my hands were frozen, that I couldn't pull the brakes. I couldn't change the gears. You had to like piss on your hands to warm them up. I remember sitting there for like an hour waiting for somebody else to come down and help me to get my wet, freezing lycra clothes off. But it stands to you. Like, I think my hands were sore for a week after that from the cold. You know, so that was my relationship with bikes. And it was just a bad relationship. That I had a dream that it was something, and then it never aspired. I had a dream that would bring me to the heights of the world, and then I realised it wasn't the bike, it was just me. It was me that wasn't good enough. It wasn't the bike that was good enough. And that brings me to where I'm at now. I fall in love with bikes again. And I want to have every type of bike. I want to have, because that's my thing, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. Coffee, have a coffee. Wait, what am I talking about? I'm having a port. I'm a fucking junkie. Oh, stop. I was on a roll there, wasn't I? Yeah, it was. Fuck's sake. So, I decided to have every style of bike, because you're going to ride a BMX different to you're going to ride a carbon fibre monocoque road bike, to a 29-inch hardtail mountain bike, to a dual suspension carbon fibre downhill mountain bike. Just a stunt bike's going to be different, and you're just going to ride them all differently. Like you act differently when you play Rage Against the Machine to Barry Manilow, just like, or Chopin. It just gives you a different same thing, it's music, but just makes you feel different. And that's the way I am with bikes. So on to today's purchase. It's a friend of mine, John Sheehan. He was my next door neighbour on Bangor Road. He lived in Old County, and he got me into riding bikes. I used to come home at night when I was a kid. I'd left school at 14, got an apprenticeship at 15, and John had this garage next door. There was never a car in the garage, just him fixing bikes every night. And every night I'd just go in and have a look, see where he was at. I'd hang out with him, and he'd be putting bikes together and talking about the race he was in the weekend. And he'd have like a list of numbers written on the stem of the handlebars of the guys he had to watch out for in races and stuff. And it got me into racing. I remember saving up all my money and him getting me a second-hand frame and wheels, handlebars, and going over to this place and that place. And he brought me around to all these spots all over the place, introduced me to people, got me into the Irish Road Club, brought me to the first meeting, and it just like took me by the hand. And very bossy, John, but if you were picking tomatoes in the supermarket, you'd be like, not them tomatoes, those tomatoes, it's super bossy. But it's coming from the right place. He's just going to tell you how to live your life, And with bikes, it was always like, he'd always talk you into getting the best gear, Like, don't get that, go the extra 100, get that, Always the best of stuff. Remember one Christmas day being in his house, Betty was there cooking a dinner. Betty was like, idolised him. She'd just make food for him all the time. And he had his bike stripped on Christmas Day in the fucking bath with paraffin, and his chain in with paraffin. Cleaning a thing. So John moved to Seattle, and he opened us. He always had this dream to have his own bike company, and his dream came true. And he has these bikes called Gerards. It's his middle name, John Gerard Sheehan. And I already have one of his bikes because we got one for Connor before, and I got it. I ended up with it. And it's here, and it's super. But he's after bringing out Mark II of the Gerard, and it's got disc brakes, so it stops quicker than rim brakes, because the normal brakes are on the rim, but with the disc brake you stop quicker. So the thing about the disc brake is, if I can stop quicker, I can go faster. So on a descent, I can afford to let it go, break that 80 kilometre an hour magic barrier that I want to break, because I can hit the anchors and that thing will slow down fast, instead of coming down and then trying to slow down, coming up to a hairpin bend. I think, shit man, I've got way too much speed here, and off you go flying, So he's after bringing out this brand new version, like the Tour de France machines, Tour de France winning machines. They're just as good as it gets. The gears are electronic. There's no cables. You have the brakes, which also change the gear, and the rear mechanism at the back has a Bluetooth signal, and when you press that click, it sends a signal to the derailleur, and that moves the chain. And that's it. So that's what we're dealing with. It's as good as it gets. So he has this new one. It's the special edition colours, Porsche original colours, baby blue and orange. It's fucking gorgeous, and Gerard written in white, and then integrated handlebars with stem. It's all one piece. white with Gerard written on it, and I'm going to get one. And actually, I was talking to Kenneth there from Rhino team. Rhino Kenneth's a regular visitor to us over in these shores, and I was telling him a story about, I remember the first carbon fibre bike I ever got. It was the first ever Giant Cadex, and John and Jules, the doc, had already got one. I think they were sponsored by them, and I went and I bought one. And there was a lad in the Irish Road Club, a vet. Now, the vets were these lads that were over 40. If you got to 40, you were a vet. But when I was 15, the vet was like ancient. You know what I mean? And the vet had bought this bike. He bought the frame. It was just a frame and forks. And he was selling it. And I remember going up to Tala to meet him, to buy the bike, buy the frame. And it was still in the box. It had never been taken out. And I went in. And you know what? I can't even remember his name nor where he lived. I knew it was in Tala. Know that bit. And he said to me, you know, when I had the legs, I didn't have the money. Now I have the money, I don't have the legs. And he hadn't got the heart to take it out of it. Even out of the, it was in a polystyrene foam thing, melted in. And he hadn't got the heart even just to take the bike out. And I thought, that's never going to be me. Never. And it never turned into it. And I'm happy that I never turned into that. Because life's for living. Life's not for quitting. Life's not for getting to a number and going, right, I'm just going to freewheel in from here on in. I've done me bit. No, it's not about that at all. And if it is, you're mistaken. Mistaken. Never me. There's always ways you can improve. You mightn't be as fast as you were, but you might be smarter than you were. Example of that would be the Lal. I remember we were racing and I experienced the Lal. Sean Lally. Fucking fox. What would happen is when you were a junior, so the under 16s were juniors, right? They were 15 and 16-year-old lads, but the vets were allowed to race with the juniors. I remember the first encounter of the Lal. I was in Carlow, and there was a hard race in Carlow. There was a real hard hill in Carlow, and you do circuits, same shit. Go to Carlow town once a year. The same races were on the same town every year, same day. I remember getting into the break. It was like 8 or 9 of us, and we were up the road, and there was a sow lad with us with silver hair, and it was the Lal. And what happens is, if you've got 8 guys, you take a turn at the front, and then the guy in second place moves up, and you all take a turn at the front. They say it's like, 40% or so harder at the front, or 30% harder at the front, and then you slipstream in behind the guy and you get a rest, And everybody does their bit, so you stay away. The 80s then fight out there's an unwritten rule. At a certain time, you all work together, but then at a certain time, you'll all start attacking each other. And it's just the way it is. There's unwritten rules in it. I remember the Lal being on the back and not going through once. And he was like, he said to me, and he'd explained to everybody, I'm an old man. You keep going, son. Fair play to you. I'll just sit on the back here. Don't mind me. I'm just an old man. Well, the old man got himself to the finish and just fucking won it at a stroll. Won it at a stroll. The Lal. I talked to his son a lot, John. This kid's into jiu-jitsu. And he's just a character. Still knocking around on the bike. Still looks the same. Still smart. Clever man. Fox. It's great to meet him, Got me thinking about all the first ever bike I ever had. I was trying to think, what's the first ever bike I had? And that got me thinking about, do you remember stuff that had value to you, like huge value to you at some stage in life where you aspired to obtain, like say for instance a leather jacket, or a particular pair of shoes, or a bike, or something that you begged, borrowed and steal to get, and then you got it, and you never felt so much joy in your life. And then you ask yourself, 10 years later or whatever, whatever happened to that leather jacket? And you can't remember how you parted ways or what happened to it. Or but it got me thinking about my first ever bike. And then, I don't know what age I was. I probably was about 4 or 5 or young anyway. And I had this bike and I had black tyres and white sidewalls. You know, so like that old kind of school. But they weren't really tyres, they were plastic wheels. So you didn't get any punctures. But I remember not having stabilisers or any of that, or a helmet or any of that kind of stuff. Because no one wore helmets then. And I remember going up and down Bangor Road on it, and I remember the black piece coming off the tyre, the black piece of plastic that was over the white piece of plastic that was meant to be a tyre that wasn't really a tyre, and that coming off and the bike going out of control, and my head running along the pebble dash wall of my grandparents' house, and then being rushed to hospital with blood loss and a concussion and stitches. Yeah. I never learned, did I? No, I didn't. And then I got a little small racing bike. Like it was miniature, because I don't know if I've said this, but I was always very little. Like miniature. You know, I wasn't just short, I was very skinny as well. And looked a lot younger than I was. Cute, I suppose you could call it. I'll have to find some footage. I have some footage that I should find, because my old man was like a photographer as a hobby. Like he had a dark room up in the attic, and I used to go up and watch him develop films. I think most of it was because I used to like the photography comics, you know, the magazines, because there's always pictures of topless chicks or chicks in G-strings with asses and stuff like that. I think that was the main attraction to him. But yeah, it was kind of, he has some old 9mm video, not video, but the cinema reel that we had, and I'll have to find that. And I'm wearing a jacket that I loved, and I don't know whatever happened to that as well. But the second bike I got was like a miniature racing bike with 3 gears, a Strum the Archer bike, and it was lovely, like small little wheels and dropped handlebars, and then that little lever that pulled a chain that was in the back hub that gave you 3 gears, you know. And then for Christmas I got this, like, it was almost, I felt it like a downgrade to me. It was like a second-hand bike racer with white tape on it. I found a photograph of it there recently. We should really like get the photographs before I start doing the videos, because then I can just throw in the photograph at the end, if you know what I mean. Because then it's like it kind of concretes the story instead of, well, here he goes again, another one of those fucking stories, but they all happened. And then I remember saving up to buy my first ever bike, and there was a shop on Old County Road. And the guy that used to own it was a guy called Ted. It was past the county bar just on the left there. I think it's an upholstery shop now. And that was a bike shop. That was the first bike shop we got on Old County Road. And it was great. I used to go in there all the time just to look at the bikes. He had them on display and stuff like that. And I remember buying my first ever brand new bike myself. And I would have been about 13, yeah. And I saved up because I had a paper round at 11, 12. I used to deliver the Southside News, I think it was called. I used to do 250 houses on Bangor Road, Old County Road, Raleigh Square. I used to get a penny a paper. And on a Wednesday I'd get paid. I get £2.45. I saved that up and I bought this bike. I think it was £110. But like, £110 then was a lot of bread. Whereas you'll still buy a bike for €110. You know what I mean? And they're much better than they were then. But they haven't really gone up. They've gone down really. Especially with the technology of it, you know. So I just thought I'd try and think about the bikes that I bought and where I'm going with my bikes. And then actually John from Liverpool sent me a picture there today. I've got this BMX. It just needs a puncture fixed, will you? Do you want it? I was like, fucking yeah, I want it. Yeah. I want to learn how to do fucking manuals. That's what I want to do. A manual is a wheelie that you don't pedal. So wheelies, you pick up the front wheel, you pedal, and you pull your back brake to kind of... But a manual is a different thing altogether. You have to throw your hips backwards and forwards over the axle in order to keep the thing going forward with the wheel off the ground. So if I get a BMX, I'll try that, you know what I mean? Give it a go. So I can't always guarantee that I'm always going to be as well dressed as this. I can't always guarantee that I'm not going to shoot monochrome or whatever I'm going to do. But I'll just play it as it comes. I mean, you don't want to get predictable now, do you? Musashi. Musashi was I don't know what Musashi was. Well, I'll tell you what he said. Anyway, Musashi said, never do the same thing more than twice, you become predictable. Musashi wrote this book called The Book of Five Rings. He's from ancient Japan, I think like 1600 or something like that he lived in. Miyamoto Musashi. The Book of Five Rings. He killed over 50 men in duels, armed hand-to-hand combat. And when he finished killing people, he decided to become a monk, and he lived in a cave, and he wrote this book called The Book of Five Rings. It's very easily available, and it's very easily readable. Most of it is like a page or two of a story, and all you do is take out the bit with the guy with the sword and put in you with whatever you have, if you know what I mean. And it's a book of strategy. And it was used a lot in the US, still is, as a business strategy book. Like an example of some of his strategies where he challenged, or they challenged, there was two brothers that had the largest Aikido school in Japan. Aikido was the art of the blade, the art of the katana. You'll see me use the katana here. That's the name of the samurai sword. It's called the katana. And Aikido is the art of the blade. And there was two brothers that ran the best Aikido school in Japan. And one of the brothers challenged either Musashi or he challenged him. So because Japan was very formal, they would agree on a particular date to meet. And on that day, they would bring their retainer, which was their boy or their servant. They would shave the top of their head. They would have a top knot. They would wear their best clothes, and they would bring their best blade. Now, samurai believed that the blade, their best blade, was more important than their soul. And they had it. They had the daily blade, and they had their best blade. They had different blades, and their best blade would be stored in a piece of bamboo and then taken out, and then the tsuba, the circular thing at the thing, added. That's the tsuba, the handle, the way it was wrapped, all that stuff was done. So they would bring their best blade for their duel because this is as good as it gets. So Musashi agreed to meet this guy on this little island that was like a 10-minute row from the mainland. So Musashi didn't wash for a week or two, didn't shave the top of his head, wore the same clothes for 2 weeks, and then decided to go on the piss the night before. And he shows up 2 hours late. He had somebody row him across the water to get to this guy, and when the guy was there, was going berserk because Musashi had insulted him so much, because they're very formal. So Musashi didn't even have a sword with him. And when your man was so angry and jumping up and down and screaming and roaring at him, he took out the oar and he hit the guy across the head and killed him. So his brother wanted revenge, and this is where the strategy comes in. And his brother agreed to meet Musashi in a forest. And Musashi got there an hour early and waited on the brother. And when the brother arrived, he ambushed him and killed him. There's no such thing as a fair fight. It's a fight. If you agree to fight somebody, there ain't no rules. And Musashi was a master of strategy. And that book, The Book of Five Rings, is a very worthwhile book. Very worthwhile book to read. And it's not about killing people or any of that stuff. It's just about looking at things, not being predictable. Don't do things more than twice, or you will become predictable. Park in a different spot. Go a different route. Not that you're paranoid or any of that. But if I can set my clock by you, you've already lost. So that is it for today. What was I talking about even? I stuck out a video there yesterday and I wasn't going to put it out. I thought it was, because normally my videos are a little bit, well, they're all tongue-in-cheek and me just having a little bit of a chat and a waffle. But the Who Am I video is kind of, might be a bit deep for some people, but I didn't know whether it might be too much, if you know what I mean. Because it's fairly honest. I won't say fairly honest, it's honest. I mean, it's just, you don't expose yourself very often to people, and you play the role, and you play the part, and you just dress up, do the act. So, anyway, I wanted to do it anyway, so that was that. And then, I'm working, actually, I did this project last year. I won't keep you much longer. There's a bunch of art around Lagos, street art, and it's by a company called LAC. They're a kind of like collective artists, and they work out this ex-prison that's down in an old colonial prison that's now a studio. So each little cell's a little studio for music and stuff. Thick walls, easy to isolate, isolate the sound. And these guys commission different artists from all over the world, from Russia, Ukraine, all these places, France, Spain, Portugal, and they come down to Lagos and they're given free rein of their street art, and they commission a particular building and they paint on them. And they're absolutely tremendous. I filmed like 35 pieces there last year, and they're all mapped. And then today, they completed another one where there was an old one before, and I was talking to Alex there from Killarney, and she was saying that she liked the piece of art, put it on the gram or something like that, and I was saying that I was working on this project, but I'd forgotten about it, to be honest. And then when I saw that piece of art there today, I just thought, I'm going to go knock on the door again of those guys, and because what I want is I want an interview with those guys just to explain, because I can't explain it, what the process is and what the thinking was and who's behind it and who the guys are and stuff like that, because it's beautiful stuff, absolutely stunning art, absolutely, and the fact that they're allowed to do it, it's amazing, and it's great to see the old and the new mixing together and people just being able to express themselves without graffiti art and all that other shit going on, So they were a bit reluctant to talk to me the last time, to be honest. I went down like 4 or 5 times and I was getting the stiff arm a little bit, I noticed that a lot now. It's kind of like when you ask people, can I take your photograph or could I shoot a little video of you? It's always, what's this for? What's this for? I remember being at Edo Portal seminar in Dublin, and I was doing a little bit of filming. I was training as well, but I thought he has this guy that films from him, so I'll shoot a little bit as well, just extra camera work, blah, blah, blah. And I said to Edo, look, let me do everyone's portrait at the end, and I had a little flash and little studio, not studio, but a little setup at the end where you just come down, take a seat, and I'll take your photograph, just to capture your expression, because I like to take portraits. And everyone that sat down said to me, even though I'd been training with them all weekend, what's this for? And it's like, actually, it's not for anything. It's just your portrait. I just wanted to take your photograph, just to send it to you, just to show you what I see. Hopefully, I capture something that maybe you see. I don't know, but I find a lot of people, especially with social media, and most people now think that there's a kind of like underlying current, and as into why I'd want your photograph. There's no more to it than just to create something from it. And there's no more to taking someone's photograph just than I like the look of you. That doesn't mean that you're beautiful. I just like the look of you. I like what I see. I like the energy from you. And I'm going to try and get that on film. And that's it. So if those guys will agree, I'll shoot that this week because I have all the other footage. Obviously the new installation, I'll go and shoot that. And then if I can put something together, I'll make a vlog out of it. And then, this is the last thing, right? So there's a guy here called Harley Hopes, and he's a knife maker. And I'm going to go out and see him during the week, and I'm going to see if I can make a film about him, because this guy, I met him here about fucking 9 years ago or something. Mad cunt. But he makes I love knives. I just fucking love knives. I mean, from the earliest of age, photographs me out fishing with my old man, and I have the Bowie knife in my hand, and I'm about that size, and I got this fucking knife. I just love knives. I just have this fascination for blades and knives and weapons. And Harley Hopes makes fucking knives, but no ordinary knife. I don't want to ruin it on you, but I'll do a piece on him. But he came in here with a knife once to show me, and he had this handle made of mammoth tusk. I was like, where the fuck did you get mammoth tusk? He's like, where do you think I got it? I got it in Siberia. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, so he's an interesting cat. So I want to do something on him. So I'm going to start taking me out of the picture a little bit, try and find some characters and hang out with them for a bit and, spread the love. Alright, so that's it. Hope it didn't waffle on too long. This isn't going on forever. So anyway, dressed up. Hope you're doing well. I know you're doing well. I can see you're doing well. 110 all the way. Namaste, Hare Krishna, we are all one. #Rafter.